What I realized, I think, growing up in a family of entrepreneurs, sort of measure what you manage was a mantra in business. And yet, when it comes to climate change, we're actually missing the measurement infrastructure to understand where emissions are coming from and who they're impacting. So we set out to solve that. We now know that we have a climate crisis, and that emissions have added up to global levels that are historic and unsustainable. But all of those emissions come from local sources. And so we have to understand them at the local level in order to be able to take action to address them. And so hyperlocal monitoring enables us to understand where those pollution hotspots are, and enables us to take really targeted action to address those sources of emissions and to protect communities and protect public health at that local level.
Our mobile sensor network is fascinating in that it involves a lot of different aspects of science and technology, all the way from how we design the device, which incorporates a number of sort of the less expensive small-scale sensors that really allow us to shrink big research equipment down to a small scale that you can use in cars, to how do we design that device and how do we operate the device so we can get the kind of data and data quality we need, all the way to then how do you sample within a car while the car is moving, and then where do you send the cars to make sure that you're getting what we call a representative sample on any particular road or street or part of town.
One of the things that we've done over the course of the years is partnered really deeply with environmental justice organizations and advocates, and Ms. Margaret is one of the nation's leading advocates. And several years ago, we teamed up with her to do a groundbreaking study that for the first time proved that air pollution is hyperlocal, that it can vary from one block to the next by up to 800%. And the data that we generated with her and with other academics in West Oakland was really groundbreaking. It was the first time that that had ever happened.
I come from a family of activists, always involved either in union, neighborhood stuff, the church, school, march of dimes or something. Well, I also have asthma, and 2 of my grandchildren have asthma, and 1 son. The block by block was a question that we asked, EDF. We asked that first because we knew that all the air monitors from the institutions such as Barry Air Quality 5 stories up. So it's not at the ground level where people are. It's not at your front door, and it's not at your, how do you detect at the ground level, at the sidewalk, and then also into your house?
I think the data is revolutionary because we really can see what is happening on this block, what's happening on that block over there, what's happening in this neighborhood where there happen to be maybe a lot of trucks that travel through the neighborhood, or particular other sorts of sources, restaurants, for instance, and whatnot, versus this other neighborhood which might just be single-family homes and parks. And they might only be a few blocks away from each other. Our sensor devices measure a number of pollutants, and it's really unique about our system. We measure with our device 6 different pollutants: carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, ozone, PM2.5, nitrogen dioxide, and nitrogen monoxide. Those are all either criteria pollutants, as identified by the EPA, or are climate pollutants, like CO2. We also measure, in addition to those, in separate units that we combine into a single sort of system, if you will, methane and ethane, very important climate pollutants that can also indicate sources of perhaps natural gas leaks or other sorts of signals like that, as well as a pollutant we call black carbon. Black carbon is a type of particle that is black, but what it really measures is diesel pollution, that the black plume that comes out of like a heavy-duty diesel truck or a bus. That particular pollutant has health effects. It's considered a carcinogen by the World Health Organization. It also has climate effects in that it actually heats our environment. This type of data collection is important because it really allows us to see signals that are really important to the communities. For instance, in West Oakland, that's an area that is surrounded by freeways, and it has the port on one side. In addition, it has residential but also industrial areas within the community. And so we can see on an individual block level or set of block levels what parts of the community are overly impacted by these particular sources. The results from our mobile sensor platform really shows us how different things can be from one block to the next. In our initial mapping in the West Oakland area, we saw differences in concentrations from one block to the block right next door that were between 5 and 8 times higher. That's huge.
The way we've been able to use the data is pushing the city of Oakland to change policy around housing, where you place housing. My hope for West Oakland is that we have the same level of air quality as they have in the hills of Oakland, the same level they have in Piedmont.
As a scientist, what I'm sort of ultimately really excited about is the sort of big picture view that our data can help inform. You know, this view of pollution, you know, in all of these areas and how it can help us really get a feel for our atmosphere and how we can make things better, how we can improve our climate, how we can improve our planet's health, how we can improve our own health, how we can move from the lungs of the planet to our very own lungs, because it's all connected.
And do they test all the new equipment with you, or?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm the guinea pig.
you are the guinea pig. I think we have the opportunity to bring radical transparency on a problem that has never really been seen at this scale before. We're literally making the invisible visible. Doing that, I think, there's an opportunity to really quickly change the game on climate, on air pollution, and to finally fix these problems that are impacting so many millions of people around the world.